hybrid format until further notice. We encourage speakers to continue to join in virtually as there will be a limited number of seats available in council chambers. However, we welcome you to participate and we thank you for your time, taking time to participate. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess. Here. Mr. Coghill. Ms. Gross.
Here.
Mr. Kraus. Mr. Lavelle.
Here.
Mr. O'Connor.
Here.
Ms. Strasburger.
Here.
Wilson.
Here.
Mrs. Cal Smith, President.
Here.
8 members present.
Thank you. As we join from our remote locations, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, as we move on to our next order of business, which is proclamations, we have Councilman Burgess to be presented.
McCullum and your family, please come forward, please. If you have any of your family, if you please come. If you have any family with you. Well, how you doing? Thank you for coming.
How you doing?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
Me and your brother. Me and your brother. Man.
Myself until catching up with, I was thinking Pittsburgh's too small, right? We're a very small place. And the person who I'm very honored to read his proclamation with, I grew up with my brother and with the school of my brother. And so I'm enjoying that conversation. We have a proclamation. Whereas William P. McCullum was hired as a laborer in the city garbage department on March, is that what's wrong? I'm just reading what it says. As a laborer in public works, you know, we make mistakes, we'll correct it. In public works department on March 20th, 1972. And whereas Mr. McCullum was promoted to truck driver in October 1979 and then transferred to the asphalt department in January 1980. And whereas Mr. McCullum transferred to the 2nd Division in 2004 and remained there until his retirement on September 13, 2021. And whereas Mr. McCullum has accumulated 635 hours, 79 and a half hour days of sick time, and accumulated the maximum allotted sick time of 112 days during his tenure. And now therefore be resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby commend William McCullum for 49 years of dedication as a city employee. And be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare Tuesday, September 14th, 2021 to be William P. McCullum Day in the city of Pittsburgh.
Motion to approve. Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It is approved.
A speech. And thank you very much for giving me this. You know, it took a long time. Their mother was the reason why I stayed, because she was going to kill me. You know? But thank you very much.
And we have another proclamation by Councilwoman Gross. Is Councilwoman Gross is presented? Yeah, that's what I have here, presented. Is someone presenting it for her? Councilwoman, we can't hear you, you're muted.
I was also got a phone call at the exact same time, the proclamation. My apologies to everybody. I would prefer, since you all are there, that the clerk read the proclamation, but we have guests via Zoom. And so after the proclamation is read, then I'm going to introduce our guests. And if Mr. Feiner would let our guests into the room, we have Cassidy and Charles, I think, in the attendees.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Gross presents, whereas public schools in the city of Pittsburgh are a place designated for relaxation, community building, and access to exercise and athletic development. And whereas lifeguards are tasked with teaching individuals how to swim, and most importantly, ensuring a safe and enjoyable environment for the community to enjoy. And whereas the city pools were the only public pools that stayed open until Labor Day, making the last couple weeks of this season especially busy. And whereas the COVID-19 pandemic and resulting labor shortage made this summer especially difficult to find and hire lifeguards. And whereas lifeguards that were hired this year had to go above and beyond what is normally expected of their duties. Whereas lifeguards often had to take on many responsibilities such as childcare and public safety. Whereas in times of emergency, lifeguards must overcome distraction and remain calm, organized, and focused on keeping the public safe. And whereas on July 28th, 2021, a shooting at the Highland Park pool showcased the immense courage of City Parks lifeguards and employees. And whereas employees at the Highland Park pool, many of them teenagers, acted quickly to ensure safety from danger by sheltering patrons in locker rooms. And whereas the lifeguards at Sue Murray and Highland Park pools deserve special recognition for their dedication to ensuring the safety of the public all season long. And now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh recognizes the vigilance and bravery of all city employee lifeguards and city parks employees. And be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh commits to supporting all employees of the Department of Parks and Recreation in continuing to ensure safe spaces for the city's youth and commends them for their ongoing service to the city of Pittsburgh.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I
A motion
appreciate
to
it.
approve. We have a motion to approve in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's approved. Councilwoman?
Thank you. I apologize. Thank you. I have two lifeguards today, and I want to thank my staff for working on the proclamation. And they've been working with City Parks, and we invited today some of the lifeguards, and two were able to make it. We have Cassidy Garofalo, and we have Charles somewhere too. Here you are. Charles, I'm looking for your full name here. Are you with us? You were there a minute ago. Oh, you're in panelists now. Charles Pitts Bonner. Do you all, if you all want to turn your cameras on, we would be able to see you and talk with you. Hi, Cassidy.
Hi.
Hi, and Charles, there you are. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Now, you probably saw just a minute ago the proclamation with people in City Council chambers. So if you all wanted to take a moment and talk about your lifeguard experience, and especially about the incident, if you have any firsthand knowledge there, please share with us.
Yes, ma'am. So I did work at Sue Murray swimming pool this year. I didn't work at Highland, but I dealt with a lot of different adversities and challenges at my pool. But I was lucky enough to have the staff that I had and to have the supervisors that I had to have always had my back like they did. I was lucky enough to be able to have a support system like I did to overcome everything that I had to deal with at my pool. We had many different things, anywhere from the crazy people on the north side that tried to harass our kids or anything in between. And I was always there, and then I always had my backup, which became from the office.
Thank you. Charles, do you have anything to say? And actually, Mr. Feiner, we have Karan or Charan, I'm not sure. I'm just getting a notice. There's actually a third lifeguard, I think, who might be in attendees and needs to be promoted to a panelist. There you are. There you are. Charles, would you like to say something? You're mute. You're still muted.
Can you hear me? Okay. I am the head lifeguard of Ammon Swimming Pool in the Hill District. I just want to tell you guys thank you. I really appreciate it. A lot goes into lifeguarding. It's not just the lifeguarding. It's building a relationship with the community, building a rapport, creating a safe environment, and we continue to do that year in, year out. I just want to tell you guys thank you and greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Charles. And Karan or Charan, I'm not sure how to say your name. I apologize. You can tell us how we say your name and if you have anything to add. And I'm told also that you're a Highland Park resident. Thank you for being here.
Thank you guys so much. And Sharon Tucker, by the way. Yeah, I just want to thank you guys and thank my staff for working really hard. They are all really, really young guards. And we went through really intense training every single week just to make sure that their skills are up to par. And when something happens like a shooting, we were really prepared for that just because of the training that we went through for our emergency action plan to actually get everyone safe. So I want to give it back to my young staff for stepping up and becoming leaders.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. And Madam Clerk, if you wouldn't mind also adding President Kell Smith and Councilman Coghill onto this proclamation, especially all of council is supporting the proclamation, but as sponsors, because I know that we all worked together so closely to make sure that we promoted a pay increase for lifeguards and tried to recruit more lifeguards, and hopefully next summer we will have a much more success in supporting our lifeguards and hiring enough so we can open all of our city pools. That's our goal for next year. Thank you all for doing the incredibly important job you did and helping us get through the summer. We really needed the pools, and we're so grateful for you all for showing up and for keeping us safe and creating a safe outdoor recreation environment. Thank you all.
Thank you, Councilman. I want to thank you for championing the lifeguards and opening our pools with Councilman Coghill as well. So thank you very much for your work on this. And Madam Clerk, can we have 5 proclamations to be read into the record, and then we'll move on to public comment. I thank you for your patience as we read through the proclamations. Madam Clerk.
Councilman O'Connor presents Bill number 1869. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby recognize and congratulate Helen Dennis for her many years of dedication and commitment to her family, friends, co-workers, and her neighborhood of Hazelwood. And be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare Tuesday, September 14, 2021, to be Helen Dennis Day in the City of Pittsburgh. Councilman O'Connor also presents Bill number 1870. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby recognize and commend Nita Struthers for her many years of commitment and dedication to the children and families of Hazelwood, and joins her nieces, nephews, cousins, Mike, Charlie, Travis, Lawrence, Tanae, James, and Edward, the arts excursions, the senior center, and Morning Star Baptist Church, to express all of their appreciation and love for her, for who she is and all she's done. And be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh is hereby declared Tuesday, September 14, 2021, to be Nita Struthers Day in the City of Pittsburgh. Council President Kell Smith presents Bill number 1871. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby recognize our Hispanic American citizens and honor the achievements of Hispanic Americans throughout our country. And be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare September 15th through October 15th, 2021 to be Hispanic Heritage Month in the City of Pittsburgh. Council President Cal Smith also presents Bill number 1872. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby congratulate Reverend Rudolph W. Wakim on the 25th anniversary of his ordination, and be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare Sunday, September 18, 2021 to be Reverend Rudolph W. Wakim Day in the City of Pittsburgh. Council President Cal Smith also presents Bill number 1873. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby recognize the Keystone State Wrestling Association and Sean Blanchard for their contributions to the Pittsburgh community. And be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare Sunday, September 12, 2021 to be KWSA and Sean Blanchard Day in the City of Pittsburgh. And Councilman Cross presents Bill number 1878. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare the month of September 2021 to be Addiction Recovery Month in the City of Pittsburgh and recognizes Janet Astle, Rachel Schuster, and Krista Flaherty for their extraordinary efforts to support recovery in our region.
Thank you. Can we have a motion to approve in a second?
So moved.
All partners. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Proclamations are approved. Thank you. And now that moves us on to our next order of business, which is public comment. And I would like to remind everyone that the rules of council state that comments are limited to matters of concern, official action, or deliberation, which are or may be before city council. Profanity and threats will not be permitted. May we have the first speaker, registered speaker, and the first registered speaker I have is Patrick Brazel. Patrick?
Hello.
Good morning. Please state your name and neighborhood for the record.
I live in Knoxville. My name is Patrick Brazel.
Thank you. Thank you. Continue.
I'm just concerned lately about how difficult it's become to drive around Pittsburgh, particularly with the scooters. I've reached out to my council member over this issue and haven't received a response. I've reached out to the mayor's office and haven't received a response. If you drive after midnight in the city of Pittsburgh like I do, it's very difficult. There doesn't seem to be any rules for the scooters. They weave in and out of traffic. They are especially laid across sidewalks, which is very concerning. Some of my elderly neighbors are having trouble getting up and down the sidewalks because in the morning, the scooters are littered about and they're very heavy. I've had to actually move a few for my neighbors just so they can get through the sidewalk. It doesn't seem like anybody's really taking this seriously, so that's why I came here today. I also wanted to talk about some of the road projects that just kind of seem unnecessary, and I'm concerned about the budget for instance, all of the police officers that are probably making overtime to make Southside just one way at night, Carson Street, I mean. But then we're also narrowing it and making access harder for that giant eagle down there by the Birmingham Bridge. Just seems sort of like counterproductive to be doing both. So I just wanted to voice my concern about that. That's really all.
Thank you very much for your comments. Have a good day. And the next speaker is Naomi Mullen. Naomi Mullen.
Hi, Teresa.
Good morning, Naomi. Please state your name and neighborhood for the record. Thank you.
Naomi Mullen, Bon Air. First, I'd like to say thank you very much, Mr. McCollum, for your 49 years of service. It's very appreciated. And Patrick Roselle, I concur. Okay. Shady treaties, not shady deals. Anthony Hamlet has resigned due to his unethical behavior. There is more unethical behavior he needs to correct before he departs. He needs to right the wrong done to the Bon Air neighborhood. Allowed, promoted, and permitted the fraudulent claim that there was community support for the proposed buyer, Gregory Development. If Hamlet will not do the right thing, then Sylvia Wilson should. Everyone who was involved with the fraudulent vote and sales agreement knows there was not community support for the developer. They all violated policy for the sale of unused property. Non-compliance with policy is taking place. Shall means must. Working to the best of their ability has not occurred. The town hall meeting left no doubt that the developer is and was thoroughly rejected. Why is the Board of Education and their cohorts allowed to harm hundreds of property owners and damage millions of dollars worth of property value? Why is this egregious noncompliance happening? My sincere, persistent request is that City Council create a resolution to block zoning change and support a green space to replace Bon Air's school building. Do your part for the environment. Reduce urban heat. Reduce watershed to Route 51. Increase green space to benefit all ages and stages. Let's make it wheelchair accessible to allow those who have poor access to nature the ability to enjoy it. Tear down problem buildings, not safe, stable neighborhoods. Shady trees, not shady deals. P.S. You want to reduce watershed to Route 51, and it is your opportunity to help with that need. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. And our next speaker is Dr. Ronald Miller. Good morning, Dr. Miller.
Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller, Belsuver, and the North Side. My daughter, Veronica Lynn Miller, is one of the lifeguards. I'm very proud of the work that she does for the city. She loves the water and she loves working as a lifeguard. I'm the founder director of university level programs of education, research, and networks of the Center for Global Studies International Interdisciplinary, PA Corporation 2831602, Global Intelligence Society candidate for Mayor Pittsburgh 2021, globalintelligencesociety.org. Counselors and citizens, who runs the show? Who really runs the government of Pittsburgh City? Elected officials, elected Pittsburgh mayor, elected counselors. You? Do you think you run the city show? When was the last time that any of you counselors collected garbage? That's present today, isn't it? Entered a burning building, took a knife from a thug. Counselors Strasburger, District 8, and Gross District 7 have been Zooming to do council meetings virtually. How would it be if a city garbage collector said, I want to do my job virtually? If a city firefighter said, I'll gut the fire from my bedroom. If a city police officer said, I'll use Zoom to degun. Who runs the city show? They do, not you. They do not believe that you know what they are doing. And they do believe that you do not know what you are doing. There are thousands of non-elected people, of workers, including Ms. Pree and her crew here who do agendas in a most excellent way. Consider what it would be like if one of you counselors prepared the agendas. These two almost universally held beliefs mean that when garbage collectors, no vaccination against unknown festering biocrap, pick it up. When firefighters, no vaccination against flame, put it out. When police officers, no vaccination against punks with guns, take them away. You are irrelevant. They run the show. A footnote. The Office of Municipal Investigations can investigate non-elected garbage collectors, firefighters, and police officers. But you know who the OMI won't investigate? Elected officials. The mayor, the controller, and you counselors. The OMI will not investigate you. That means that there is no entity within the city government to investigate the mayor's office or the mayor, specifically the controller, and each one of you counselors. As mayor, I would ban the OMI as it stands.
Thank you. And our next speaker is Helen Gerhart. Helen, are you with us?
Thank you.
Good morning.
Thanks for the to speak today.
Neighborhood for the
Can you
record.
all hear me?
Yes, please state your name and neighborhood for the record.
Helen Gerhardt, North Point Breeze. Before the August recess, City Council had promised more transparency in terms of community process and input regarding the American Rescue Plan budget. When they returned, and concerns about the accountability and transparency of this process were clearly laid out in Controller Michael Lamb's letter to City Council, published on September 10th. Not only do his suggestions for accountability measures support the U.S. Treasury's own guidance on inclusive public process for input by groups most affected by COVID-19 and direction of funds to those groups and communities, but they would also allow City Council the flexibility to pivot and reconsider uses of funds based on rapidly changing conditions that directly impact those groups that are most in need of rescue. When much of this budget was created, we really thought we were going to be coming out of this COVID crisis. I think many of us had general confidence in mass vaccination allowing a return to business as usual and allowing the direction of funding to many worthy projects that had been derailed by the pandemic and which are incorporated in this budget. But we are in fact facing an escalating crisis even before winter. COVID case numbers are going up quickly here in the county, and the county eviction moratorium is set to expire on October the 31st. Such evictions will not only create far greater danger and suffering for those who will lose their homes, but also for the public at large, as increasing transmission rates and breakthrough infections are creating conditions not only for overwhelmed healthcare systems that mean other health conditions are being neglected, they will also help to drive COVID-19 mutation and decreasing vaccine protection efficacy for us all. The guidance released by the Treasury on July 19th states, in identifying these disproportionately impacted communities, recipients should be able to support their determination for how the pandemic disproportionately impacted the populations, households, or geographic areas to be served. Eligible services include building stronger neighborhoods and communities, including supportive housing and other services for individuals experiencing homelessness, development of affordable housing and housing vouchers, and assistance relocating to neighborhoods with higher levels of economic opportunity. An enormous proportion of this funding is being allocated for 2021, with allocations to the URA, One Pittsburgh, PWSA, and the Pittsburgh Parking Authority, even as changing conditions and escalating crises will not.
Thank you. And our next registered speaker is Ikahana Helmakina. Ikahana Helmakina.
Greetings,
Good morning.
Grand Rising to you. Well, greetings and good day. My title is Ikahana Helmakina. I am the Grand Inca of the Iroquois Confederacy of Aborigine American Peoples. I've spoken countless times on City Council on behalf of our nation, on behalf of our people. I am the voice of the Aborigine American Indigenous people, to which this land belongs. You're dividing up our land without our free, prior, and informed consent. These egregious acts must come to an end. Statistically, it shows that we are the most marginalized community of people in America, which is our land, the home of our ancestors. And we, the Aborigine American people, refuse to be exiled in our own land. As we all continue to struggle to make sense of what City Council has chosen and how they have chosen to allocate funds essentially to itself by creating a nonprofit agency called One PGH, to which a lot of city and county agencies are partners. It is a conflict of interest and should be looked into by an ethics board. Also, I've heard through the NPR news outlet that PWSA is still slated to raise the rates. Again, I ask to City Council, how will you ensure us, the people, that the $10 million that you have given to PWSA won't increase rates, as we are hearing through the grapevine that they are slated to increase the rates? And also, I wanted to state to Erica Strasburger and Councilman Smith, Kel Smith, that Kamari Harrison spoke during your recess session in regards to the American Rescue Plan funds and wanted to begin a recycling program as she is a 10-year-old little girl who wishes to contribute to society in a positive light and has not heard back from either of the two of you. And I would desire for you to communicate with Kamari and myself in regards to the program that the young lady would like to initiate and begin in the city of Pittsburgh. And with that, I yield the rest of my time. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. And if you send me her number, I'll make sure that she gets contacted. I thought that that was done. And the next speaker is Kenneth Kiesel. Kenneth?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Good morning.
Okay. Good morning.
Neighborhood for the record.
Kenneth Kissel, Brackenridge Borough. Actually, my comment is actually more for the Allegheny County Council, but I do want to mention, since I actually am on here, I do work a lot of the North Hills, and I would just like to see better crowd control on the outside of PPG Paints Arena before and after events. I just feel like that we don't really have adequate control with public safety. So I would like to see better implementation for the events there, because I actually work in the facility. I've noticed quite a number of times, several hours before events, that we see cars that are parked on streets where they shouldn't be, and just stuff that I know it's more of a public safety issue. But the main reason why I wanted to bring everything up today was for the Allegheny County Council, not for the Pittsburgh Council. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And our next speaker is Tim Stevens. Tim Stevens.
Good morning, Council.
Stevens, please continue.
We remain at an historic moment in Pittsburgh as to how unexpected millions of dollars will be spent to address some of the many needs of our city, particularly the needs of African Americans, people of color, and the most marginalized citizens. With this vote in hand, the city's Pittsburgh City Council has yet another opportunity to needed an important level of transparency to the citizens they serve. On behalf of the Black Political Empowerment Project, I implore each of you to not transfer more than $90 million of the funds to outside entities. We agree with those who strongly advocate that these previously unexpected federal funds be held instead in the City of Pittsburgh's American Rescue Plan Trust Fund until the specific agencies are ready to spend the needed funds. The monies will still be available. There's no real need to take away a great opportunity to provide a much needed expanded level of public transparency about how these funds are being spent and will be spent. In our opinion, by doing so, such a process will provide a much greater level of ongoing oversight and accountability, as well as a deeper faith in the political system that runs our city of Pittsburgh on behalf of our citizens. I ask that this approach be chosen by you as members of Pittsburgh City Council to further the possibility of being in position to better track how these funds are being spent on an ongoing basis. There have already been enough concerns expressed on how City Council has chosen to handle the process of deciding how the ARP funds will be spent. Now's an opportunity to lessen that negative reaction and to help set the table for a new level of comfort on the part of our citizens of how government operates. The Black Political Empowerment Project has already expressed in recent weeks and months our concern about how we and others viewed as a much too swift approach to decide how the $335 million ARP funds will be spent. Though there have been commitments made by Council President Teresa Cal Smith for an expanded level review for how these millions of dollars will be spent, and we appreciate that commitment, our fear is that not leaving these funds in the city's American Rescue Plan Trust Fund will contribute to an absence of a level of transparency that this historic moment calls for. We prefer the normal process of invoices being provided for specific projects and for money to be released and what would be called a case-by-case basis. This just seems to be the right thing to do. Please do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. And our next speaker is Dana Dolney. Dana, are you with us?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Good morning. Please state your name and neighborhood for the record. Thank you.
My name is Dana Dolney. I'm from Polish Hill, and I'm speaking today on behalf of Just Harvest and as a citizen as well. So good morning. My name is Dana Dolney, and I'm here as both a concerned citizen and as the grassroots organizer at Just Harvest. Today, I would like to reiterate the concerns shared from a recent press conference where a multitude of organizations and individuals pleaded with this council to listen to our community concerns and to reconsider the allocation of ARPA funds to address the pressing and immediate needs that this money was intended to serve. As there appears to be only one council member that has seen the errors in the haste and the lack of transparency and the fiscal irresponsibility that is on the table here, I will again state our outrage and our concern that this process has not engaged nor listened to community voices. We need real and immediate food and housing justice for low-income communities and renters now. We need transit justice, environmental justice, and sincere economic justice that will benefit those most in need from this crisis. Many of the proposed infrastructure items in the outgoing mayor's budget may be valuable, but are they true emergencies? Are they the best and highest use for these funds? We don't think so. How will the incoming administration serve the needs of these communities if the money to do so is tied up now? Are these items in this budget, can they and will they be actually served by the upcoming infrastructure bill? We don't know. And the public deserves that knowledge before you spend our money, which is why we need to deliberate about this and continue to deliberate, not tie the hands of future leaders to do so. We need public hearings, and our public and community leaders need to be listened to, as we are on the front lines of this pandemic daily, and we have seen the needs firsthand. We need to stop this rush to distribute these poorly allocated funds, and we demand a reassessment with full public participation and support. We need you to listen to the guidance that governs how the rescue plan money is spent. How are these allocations directly supporting the public health crisis? Where are the community conversations about how to best address the economic impacts caused and exacerbated by this public health emergency? Although well-lit neighborhoods are important, these same communities do not have enough to eat, nor access to healthcare, access to transit. Many have lost jobs and cannot find help with rent, and now fear losing their homes. We need you to heed the dire concerns and warnings brought to you by City Controller Lamb. Why does the URA need $75 million today? How will the city track and be accountable to the public and how this money was spent? This is your job to do. It is your job to represent the communities you serve and not allow this type of fiscal, unheard of irresponsibility. This rushed vote does not allow these funds to be used in the manner which they were intended and will tie the hands of future leaders instead of doing what is right and allocating and releasing the funds on a case-by-case basis as suggested by Lamb. We fully support that the funds must be left in the city ARPA fund.
Our next speaker is Clara Weeble. Oh.
Everyone, my name's Claire Weibel, and I'm a recent Pitt graduate and lifelong resident of Allegheny County, now living in Squirrel Hill in District 5. As discussions about the allocation process have continued since the summer, I'd like to reiterate points made by Pittsburgh Controller Michael Lamb in his letter to council, stating that money should be allocated as money is needed through regular invoice processes. This lack of phased payment is concerning to me, as there is no way to ensure the success of funded projects before it is all allocated. By not doing so and accelerating payments and giving money upfront, we lose flexibility, accountability, and control that the public deserves to know in this process, especially as the budget is already $24 million over budget from what was originally approved by City Council on July 20th, 2021. I'd also like to address some of the rhetoric used by council members. Several of you, such as Reverend Lavelle and President Kel Smith, have used the argument that this is emergency money and that council needs to act quickly. We know from our own experiences that our districts are hurting, but a transparent process is nothing new, and having a phased payment system doesn't stop council from addressing needs in an urgent manner. In addition, this money isn't being used as direct aid to constituents, so this line of thought is a little bit misleading to me. Finally, I'd like to consider the allocation of $2.5 million to one PGH. Although relatively small in the ARP allocation, this $2.5 million going towards an organization that seems to exist as PR for tax-exempt nonprofits who donate to one PGH is also concerning to me. As a large contributor to one PGH are private entities providing payments in lieu of taxes. It feels irresponsible to have federal dollars funding their projects, and I'm uncomfortable with this decision. Thank you. You have my time.
That's the list, exhaust the list of registered speakers. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address City Council? Please come forward. Thank you. Good morning. Please state your name and neighborhood for the record. Thank you.
Marcia Bandies with Squirrel Hill, and I'd just like to support and agree with the most previous speakers, Tim Stevens and the rest. I do think that I don't understand why this money needs to be transferred now. I don't understand why we can't keep it here and let these agencies request the money as they have shown that the need for it. So that's basically what I want to say. And I thank Deborah Gross, Councilwoman Deborah Gross, and Michael Lamb for pointing these points out. Thank you.
Thank you. And next speaker. Good morning.
William Parker, represent Pittsburgh, the whole Pittsburgh. I get it. Absolutely get it. I understand the rush. There's only one reason that you're rushing this decision, and that's because none of you trust Ed Gainey. That's why none of you voted for him. You don't trust him coming into office as the next mayor and leading this city. You do not trust Ed Gainey. That's why they're doing this. I want to echo what we've heard today. I don't believe that the money should be transferred in one lump sum. We all know that, but again, you don't trust Ed Gainey. All I want to do is come here and advocate for the people who have been bringing up food and security issues, the renters, and I want to also advocate for a skating rink to be built over in Hazelwood Green. Now, Ricky Burgess, you're in the recreation. I don't know if you like skating. I don't know if you still do that, but people would love to have a skating rink over there in Hazelwood Green. There's no skating rink within the city of Pittsburgh. I don't see why you couldn't make that happen. Also, as you mentioned, I read a report where you talked about banks, financial institutions. They're not doing their fair share. They're not giving people loans. They're not giving people the availability for mortgages. And my thing out of that is, it's one thing to say that, but we need to find out who these banks are. We need to know who these banks are, because it's counterproductive when you'll say, okay, these banks aren't giving us loans, but then I'll see you in a photo op with F&B Bank. I'll see you in photo ops with these people. So it makes no sense to speak out if you're not letting us know who these banks are, so the community can stop spending their money with these banks. Because we don't know. We need to stop spending our money with these financial institutions. So we got to take it further than just letting us, just putting this report out here without giving us anything to go on after that. But like I said, I believe $10 million, that's not too much to ask for. It's $335 million. $10 million, a tech incubator. We need tech. That's where Pittsburgh is right now. It's tech. What's wrong with that? $10 million, a tech incubator led, diversity led, a skating rink in Hazelwood Green, and some money for food insecurity and renters. That's all I'm asking. I don't think that's too much to ask for, especially when there's $335 million on the table. Thank you all. I also like to appreciate this officer. I was able to clear the air with him last time when we had a little disagreement, but I appreciate your service. And thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. Have a good day.
Too.
And our next order of business is I'm sorry, seeing no further speakers. No further speakers in the audience and no further registered speakers. Our next order of business is the presentation of papers, and we have Councilman Reverend Ricky Burgess, Chair of Urban Recreation.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Reverend Burgess presents Bill number 1846, ordinance amending and supplementing the city code to require the confirmation of city council for deputy directors and/or chiefs, assistant directors and/or chiefs, and other enumerated positions in the city code. Bill number 1847, resolution authorizing the city clerk to enter into an agreement or contracts with an attorney or law firm approved by council for various legal services as they arise on behalf of the city council in an amount not to exceed $30,000.
Thank you. And Councilman Coghill, Chair of Public Works.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Good morning, Councilman.
No new papers, Madam President.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Gross, Chair of Intergovernmental Affairs.
Madam President.
Thank you. Good morning, Councilwoman.
Councilwoman Gross presents Bill number 1848, resolution adopting plan revision to the city of Pittsburgh's official sewer facilities plan for the Garden Theater Block Project in the 22nd Ward. Bill number 1849, resolution adopting plan revision to the city of Pittsburgh's official sewer facilities plan for 346 John Kerr Street. Bill number 1850, resolution providing for the execution of a corporation agreement with the URA for the performance of certain work in connection with the 2021-2022 Community Development Block Grant Program and providing for the payment of costs not to exceed $7,442,500, Council District All. Bill number 1851, resolution authorizing a corporation agreement with the URA, designating URA as the city's agent for administration of the 2021-2022 Home Investments Partnership Program, Council Districts All. Bill number 1852, resolution authorizing the URA to acquire all the city's right, title, and interest, if any, in and to the publicly owned property in the 20th Ward of the city, designated in the Deed Registry Office of Allegheny County as Block 42M, Lot 22, Council District Number 2, the first southwest side of Defer Avenue, south of Sherwood Avenue. Bill number 1853, resolution authorizing the URA to acquire all the city's right, title, and interest, if any, in and to the publicly owned property in the 13th Ward of the city, designated in the Deed Registry Office of Allegheny County, Council District Number 9, Nadir Way, southwest corner of Nadir Way and Formosa Way. Bill number 1854, resolution approving execution of a contract for disposition by sale of land between the URA and Jackie Moore for the sale of Block 9M, Lot 176 in the 3rd Ward, Council District Number 6, Cliff Street, side yard sale. Bill number 1855, resolution approving execution of a contract for disposition by sale of land between the URA and Chris Stamler for the sale of Block 50M, Lot 61 in the 10th Ward, Council District Number 9, Kincaid Street, side yard sale. Bill number 1856, resolution authorizing the URA to acquire all the city's right, title, and interest, if any, in and to the publicly owned properties in the 12th Ward, designated in the Deed Registry Office of Allegheny County, Council District Number 9, Meadow Street, southwest side of Meadow Street, between Ashley and Paulson Avenue. Bill number 1857, resolution authorizing the URA to acquire all the city's right, title, and interest, if any, in and to the publicly owned property in the 15th Ward of the city, designated in the Deed Registry Office of Allegheny County, Council District Number 5, Lytle Street, east side of Lytle Street, south of West Elizabeth Street. Bill number 1858, resolution authorizing the URA to acquire all the city's right, title, and interest, if any, in and to the publicly owned properties in the 12th Ward designated in the Deed Registry Office of Allegheny County, lots 253, 254, and 255, Council District Number 9, Meadow Street, southwest side of Meadow Street, north of Paulson Avenue. Bill number 1859, resolution authorizing the URA to acquire all the city's right, title, and interest, if any, in and to the publicly owned properties in the 5th Ward designated in the Deed Registry Office, Council District Number 5, 826 and 828 Shawnee Street. Bill number 1860, resolution authorizing the URA to acquire all the city's right, title, and interest, if any, in and to the publicly owned properties in the 18th Ward of the city designated in the Deed Registry Office, Council District Number 3, 844 Gearing Avenue and 841 Delmont Avenue. Bill number 1861, resolution approving execution of a contract for disposition by sale of land between the URA and Rose Street Ventures for a related entity for the sale of Block 10P lots 186, 187, 188, 189, and 190 in the 5th Ward of the city, Council District Number 6, various addresses on Rose Street. Bill number 1862, resolution authorizing the URA to acquire all the city's right, title, and interest, if any, in and to the publicly owned property in the 12th Ward designated in the Deed Registry Office of Allegheny County, Council District Number 9, Lincoln Avenue, north side of Lincoln Avenue, east of Winslow Street. Bill number 1863, resolution authorizing the URA to acquire all the city's right, title, and interest, in, if any, in and to the publicly owned properties in the 4th Ward of the city, designated in the Deed Registry Office of Allegheny County, Council District Number 6, 2 Seneca Street and 3 Seneca Street. Bill number 1864, resolution authorizing the URA to acquire all the city's right, title, and interest, if any, in and to the publicly owned properties in the 12th Ward, Council District Number 9, 979, 981, 983, 85, and 987 Washington Boulevard.
Thank you. And Councilman Kraus, Chair of Human Resources.
Good morning, Madam
Good
President.
morning, Councilman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Oh, I forgot to stand up. Thank you,
Yes,
Madam.
We're all doing it.
I'm
We're all out
bad.
of sequence.
Yeah, we're out of sync. Forgive
Sync,
me.
yeah.
Councilman Kraus presents Bill number 1876, resolution approving the recommendation made by the Director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure that the brick portion of Combat Street to be paved with asphalt in accordance with Section 41706 of the Pittsburgh Code of Ordinances.
Thank you. And Councilman Lavelle, Chair of Finance and Law.
No new papers.
Thank you, Councilman. Good morning. And Councilman O'Connor, Chair of Public Safety Services.
Any papers, Madam President?
Thank you, Councilman. And Councilwoman Strasburger, Chair of Innovation, Performance, and Asset Management.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Good morning, Councilwoman.
Councilwoman Strasburger presents Bill number 1866, resolution amending Resolution 321, amending agreement or agreements with EDOC Technologies for the licensing services and maintenance and support services to correct the total not to exceed amount for the 3-year extension.
Madam President,
Thank you. Yes, Councilwoman.
thank you. I'd like to make a motion to waive the rules of council so this bill 2021-1866 appears on tomorrow's standing committee agenda.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bill, any opposed? The bill will appear on tomorrow's standing committee agenda. Thank you, Councilwoman. And Councilman Wilson, Chair of Land Use and Economic Development.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Wilson presents Bill number 1867, ordinance amending the Pittsburgh Code Title 5 Traffic Article 7, Parking Chapter 549 Residential Parking Permit Program, so as to clarify the administrative process for the program, provide for virtual permitting, add the permit fees to the city's annual fee book, adopt regulations for the use of visitors permits and non-resident permits, and create the hybrid RPP area program. Bill number 1877, ordinance amending the city code Title 6, Article 3, Chapter 633 by adding a new section 633.25, prohibiting the declawing of cats.
Thank you. And I have one reappointment. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Council President Kell Smith presents Bill number 1865, resolution informing City Council of the reappointment of Michael Dunleavy as a member of the Sports and Exhibition Authority Board for a term to expire December 31st, 2024. Mr. Dunleavy will continue to serve in a seat designated for a joint appointee from the city in Allegheny County.
Thank you. And this is a reappointment. So what's the will?
What's the proper procedure, Madam Clerk? I should know this and I forget. Is it a
It's just, so can we have, thank you, Councilman. Can we have a motion to read, receive, and file?
So moved. Second.
And you just, thank you. All in favor? I'm sorry.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry, I should have asked. Any opposed? Any opposed? Okay. The reappointment is approved. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Councilman, for your help with that one. And unfinished business, do we have any unfinished business before council?
Madam President, may I,
Councilman.
please? Yeah, thank you. I should have spoken up on Bill 1876. It is about doing some paving of a very, very small portion of street in Mount Washington on Convex Street. Being that we're coming to the end of paving season, can I make a motion to waive the rules on 1876 so we can deal with it tomorrow?
Well, for Mount Washington, of course you can. No. Yes, motion
Waive rules.
to waive the rules of council. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The bill
you,
appear
Madam
on tomorrow's
President.
standing committee agenda. Thank you, Councilman. And that moves us on to any other further unfinished business. Seeing none, that will move us on to committee reports of committee for final action. We begin with Councilman Lavelle, Committee on Finance and Law.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Lavelle presents Bill number 1840, report of the Committee on Finance and Law for September 8th, 2021. With an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 1755, resolution amending Resolution 112, which authorized the mayor and the city solicitor to enter into a professional services agreement with McGrail and Associates for professional consultant services in connection with billboard tax litigation by increasing the total spend by $170,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $363,200. Bill number 1756, resolution amending resolution number 223 by amending the existing professional services agreement with Hawk, McKeon, and Sisnick for legal services in connection with PUC matters by increasing the total spend by $150,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $200,000. Bill number 1757, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in a total amount not to exceed $50,000 payable to Community Justice Project for attorney fees and non-monetary settlement of a litigation matter. Bill number 1758, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in the total sum of $8,000 to Michael J. McChin for outside legal services pertaining to zoning case. Bill number 1799, resolution authorizing pursuant to Chapter 210 of the City Code, the mayor and director of the Department of Public Works to accept a donation from the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix Association of Jersey Barriers valued at $9,349.20. Bill number 1800, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Paul Surgeon in the amount of $4,999.29 in settlement of a claim for damage to a parked vehicle from a city ES vehicle on January 5th, 2021. Bill number 1801, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Daniel Williams in the amount of $5,775 in settlement of a claim for damage to a stop vehicle from a city fire vehicle in emergency response on July 11, 2021. Bill number 1802. Resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Myers Yankovich Scott for professional legal services in connection with ethics hearing board matters for an amount not to exceed $12,259. Bill number 1803, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Office of Management and Budget to enter into an agreement with one PGH for the completion of a guaranteed personal income project as approved in the City of Pittsburgh's American Rescue Plan at a cost not to exceed $2,500,000. Bill number 1804, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Office of Management and Budget to enter into an agreement with the Pittsburgh Parking Authority for the completion of the Kirkwood Avenue Lot Project as approved in the City American Rescue Plan at a cost not to exceed $80,000. Bill number 1805, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Office of Management and Budget to enter into an agreement with the Pittsburgh Water and Sewer Authority for the completion of lead line replacement projects as approved in the City of Pittsburgh's American Rescue Plan at a cost not to exceed $17,500,000. Bill number 1806, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Office of Management and Budget to enter into an agreement with the URA for the completion of projects approved in the City of the Pittsburgh American Rescue Plan at a cost not to exceed $74,878,811.
You have heard the reading and the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills? Councilman Lavelle.
Madam President,
Yes.
members received yesterday and they should be before members now, amendments to bills 1803, 1804, 1805, and 1806. For the public's edification, I will quickly read them because the amendments are the same for all bills. They add additional sections. Section 6 is the Pittsburgh City Controller is authorized to perform an audit of said agreements or agreements, which shall include an accounting of all monetary exchanges and any other interactions between the two entities and any potential sub-recipients. Section 7, the organization shall submit quarterly financial and progress reports to the Director of the Office of Management and Budget and to the Controller for projects relating to said agreements or agreements. And then Section 8, the Office of Management and Budget shall provide the Pittsburgh Recovery Task Force with quarterly updates relating to said agreements and or agreements. And it would also be my expectation that any such reports, that any such reports would also be read, received, and filed within City Council.
Thank you, Councilman Lavelle. Can we have a motion to approve the amendments in a second?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on the amendment? The only thing I would like to add, I don't see anything from other members. The only thing I would like to add is I'd like to see that we include, I'm sorry, Councilwoman Gross, do you have something?
I did actually, yeah.
Okay, I apologize. Go ahead, you go first, then I'll continue.
Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to thank Councilman Lavelle for those amendments. They're not all that I would hope to amend, but I hope council would also not approve all of these transfers in a lump sum. So while it's good to have reporting, and I appreciate that, I also would hope that the reports do not only go to the Pittsburgh Task Force, which is just Councilman Lavelle, Councilwoman Smith, and Councilman Burgess. They should go to all council, and in fact, yes, they should be read into the record. And I would have hoped the language would have reflected that. But that tracking the funds once they're gone is a slight improvement. But that the funds, that the trust fund itself should not be depleted by 80%, which it will be if council approves these bills today. But I am supportive of the amendment. At least it's a good start.
Thank you. And any other members? With that said, the only thing I'd like to see is that anyone receiving these funds not only submit to the paperwork to the controller, but they undergo an audit and they also have currently filed their 990s with the federal government, that we make sure that there's some things in place. I'd like to work with you a little bit more on that Councilman Lavelle, because I've had my share of working with nonprofits that come to take money. And we heard throughout the entire hearings that we had, the meetings that we had, is that people do not want us to give money to nonprofits, to organizations that do not make sure that the funding trickles into to benefit the public. We heard from organizations who thought that the public needed it. We heard from the public saying that they had concerns about how we're giving money and talking about giving money to nonprofits, which we still are discussing. But I will say that people want to make sure that that money that was to benefit them will benefit them. So I'm going to work on some wording with you on that. Any other members? Any other members?
Thank you.
Okay, can we take the vote? Madam Clerk?
You're just voting on the amendment.
Correct.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Of the amendment?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, amendment's approved. Now it gets on to the actual bills. Any further discussion on the bills?
Madam President?
Councilwoman Gross.
Yes. I just want to say that while the amendment was, a good start, that these bills, 1803, 1804, and 1805, and 1806, approve over $96 million in just one day to be transferred out of our trust fund. And that is, I think, irresponsible of City Council. Those funds that we have in hand started off with 167 some million. And when you add in the bills from last week that were finally approved, over 10 million. And then you add in, as I stated last week in Standing Committee, the 30 million plus, at least, because I haven't heard back from OMB, that they have already started the process to transfer out of the trust fund into operating funds as approved by this council in the allocation in July. You will have depleted the American Rescue Plan Trust Fund down from 167 million to less than 30 million, to $28 million, or maybe even less than that, depending on what OMB gets back to us with, in one day, basically. Now, we don't get another check from the federal government until May or June of 2022, when our second installment of 167 million arrives. The combined 335 million is supposed to last us for 4 years. And yet we are sending checks to outside authorities for them to hold the funds for no reason. We set up the trust fund so that it can hold these funds. The city treasury should be accruing the interest from the funds. And then we can track them and we can make sure that the funds are spent responsibly. We don't do this in any other circumstances. I'll remind the public and council that we every year give some of our federal community development block grant funds to the Urban Redevelopment Authority. For a long time, it was around $2 million. And we didn't cut those checks to the URA. That is not how it works. We wait until they invoice us so we can see what the invoice is for. We can verify that those programs were executed according to the agreements, and then we write the check. So I think that that is a great model for how these cooperative agreements should be structured. I also think that the cooperative agreements should stipulate quarterly payments, and that those quarterly payments should not start until after we know that Mara Duzel, who we contracted to help do the reporting and auditing of our American Rescue Plan funds, actually approves the program guidelines by the authorities, right? And so that will take some time. We'll pass this resolution, then cooperative agreements are begun to be drafted by the authority and our city solicitor. And then those have to be approved by Mara Duzel. And funds should not be transferred before any of that happens. And so I think we should have reporting back out of that process. Once again, City Council is pre-approving a cooperative agreement without seeing what is in the agreement. And I think we should see the agreements before final approval, but that's not in this language. And so once again, I'll be voting no. I would like to once again point out that the City Council allocation plan happened before any other city that I could find. So the City Council approved 100% of the $335 million allocation in July of 2021. We could not find another city that had voted on a 4-year plan. Now it's September, it's the middle of September, and we found, I think just only Detroit has actually done a budget for its full 4 years of funds. No other city is approving disposition or like payments out of its trust fund up to 80% that we can find. And so I very strongly oppose approval of these transfers. I'd like to also make a few comments about 1PGH. As I've stated out now multiple times, it is a 501c3 that is, we're allowed under the federal regulations to give the federal American Rescue Plan dollars to nonprofits. This nonprofit is I want to say almost the least transparent nonprofit we work with. Right? We can't see its minutes. We can't see its board agendas. We actually was told verbally when I asked last week if they actually hold board meetings, and I'm told that they did, but nobody could remember when they were or even how many there had been this year, and that makes me very uncomfortable. We don't have current financials. And I would say also, most importantly, given the size of this transfer, we should control the board seats, right? So you see us giving millions of dollars to authorities of the city of Pittsburgh. Now, they're a different structure. They are not 501c3s. They are must follow state law of Municipal Authorities Act, and they must follow Sunshine Law, another state act. This nonprofit does not. But the other kinds of entities that we transfer large sums of money to, the mayor appoints the board seats and city council gets to approve them. We have relationships with some 501c3s like the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh because they serve such an important function for the city citywide. And Madam President gets to appoint 3 council members to the board of the Carnegie Libraries. I believe she sits on the Carnegie Museum Board. I believe we get to appoint a board member to the River Life because it also serves the function of the city of Pittsburgh. There should be control of 1PGH's board by the mayor of the city of Pittsburgh and the city council of the city of Pittsburgh. And until those bylaws are restructured, we should not transfer these funds. So I've read the bylaws. They are posted on the 1PGH website. And the board members who I've read off several times now, which include 4 direct employees of Mayor Peduto, and others, public officials or private citizens, I would say, get to appoint the next board. They get to hire and fire the staff. And that is not right. I've heard members of this administration call this a mayor's fund. If it's a mayor's fund, then it should actually be controlled by the mayor of the city of Pittsburgh and not Bill Peduto, who's only going to be serving for another 4 or 5 months in that role and shouldn't be able to control the fund moving forward from there. I also remind the public that there is no money in the American Rescue Plan approved by this council for childcare, for food insecurity, for renters, or for the eviction prevention, which we know is a crisis that we've all talked about and are all concerned about. And so I believe that depleting these funds by 80% today is a grave mistake. So I'll be voting no. Madam Clerk, may I also have my comments from last Wednesday carried forward into the record?
So noted.
Thank you. Any other
Thank you, Mr. or Madam President. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other members? Seeing none, the bills are now ready for final action. All in favor of their passage will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Coghill,
No on 1803, aye on all others.
Ms. Gross,
No on 1803, 1804, 1805, and 1806. Aye on all other bills.
Mr. Kraus,
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle,
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor, Ms. Strasburger,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Mrs. Cal Smith, President.
Aye.
On bills 1803, there's ayes 7, noes 2. On bills 1804, there's ayes 8, noes 1. 1805, ayes 8, noes 1. 1806, ayes 8, noes 1. All other bills, ayes 9, noes 0.
The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. That moves us on to Councilman Corey O'Connor, Committee on Public Safety Services. Councilman Lavelle for Councilman O'Connor, I'm sorry.
Madam President.
Thank you.
Councilman O'Connor presents Bill number 1841, report of the Committee on Public Safety Services for September 8th with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 1807, ordinance amending and supplementing the City of Pittsburgh Code Title 6, Article 1 by amending Chapter 601, 60111 to more clearly define litter and illegal dumping violations and to update penalties to include community restitution.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the title of the bill. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, the bills are now ready for final passage. All in favor, final action, all in favor of the passage will vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess. Mr. Coghill,
Aye.
Ms. Gross,
Aye.
Mr. Kraus,
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle,
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor,
Aye.
Ms. Strasburger, Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Mrs. Cal Smith, President.
The bills having received the legal required number of votes are finally passed. Councilman O'Connor?
Sorry, Madam President, I had to step outside for a
Sorry.
call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Aye. Sorry.
Ayes
Councilman
9,
O'Connor.
noes 0.
Thank you. Councilman
No,
O'Connor.
I just want to register an aye vote on the bills. I had to step out.
Okay, thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
And now we have Councilman Anthony Coghill, Committee on Public Works.
You, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you.
Councilman Coghill presents Bill number 1842, report of the Committee on Public Works for September 8, 2021, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 1788, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Public Works to enter into a 5-year agreement with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for winter traffic services for the period beginning October 15th of 2021 and ending April 30th of 2026. Bill number 1790, resolution granting unto Willow Fortune LLC, their successors, and assigns the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense a new projecting sign at 3508 Butler Street, 6th Ward, 7th Council District. Bill number 1791, resolution granting unto Jordan and Stephen Schmidt, their successors, and assigns the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense to replace an existing retaining wall and parking pad that extends 5 feet into the right-of-way located on Kalamazoo Way behind the residence of 1439 Morningside Avenue, 10th Ward, 7th Council District. Bill number 1793, resolution granting unto 3213 Penn LLC, their successors, and assigns the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense to install 2 entrance canopies and 1 bus shelter canopy at 3213 Penn Avenue, 6th Ward, 7th Council District. Bill number 1794, resolution granting unto Oakdale Development LLC, their successors, and assigns the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense 3 projecting light fixtures at 3824 Penn Avenue, 6th Ward, 7th Council District. Bill number 1795, resolution granting unto Hullet Development Triangle LP, their successors, and assigns the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense a fire escape on an existing building above the sidewalk at 701 Smithfield Street, Second Ward, Sixth Council District.
Thank you. You have heard the reading of the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills? Seeing none, the bills are now ready for final action. All in favor of their passage will vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess, Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross,
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle,
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor,
Aye.
Ms. Strasburger, Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Mrs. Kell Smith, President.
Aye.
Ayes 9, no 0.
The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. Councilman Bobby Wilson, Committee on Land Use and Economic Development.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman. Yeah. I'm sorry, did I? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed Councilman Kraus. Sorry,
Madam
I don't have-
President.
I don't have a sheet with his name on it.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you. I'm sorry, Councilman Kraus, Committee on Human Resources.
Councilman Kraus presents Bill number 1843, report of the Committee on Human Resources for September 8th, 2021, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 1798, resolution amending resolution number 699, which authorized the city to enter into a professional services agreement with P&A Group for services relating to the administration of the city's consolidated omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act program by exercising the written option to extend the term of the contract by 2 years at a cost not to exceed $90,000. Bill number 1809, ordinance amending and supplementing the Pittsburgh City Code Title I Administrative Article 11, Human Resources, Chapter 189, Leaves of Absences, Section 18902, Loss of Pregnancy, by adding language to establish fully paid bereavement leave for every city employee who experiences pregnancy loss.
Thank you. You have heard the reading of the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills? Councilman Wilson.
Yes, I have an amendment to Bill 1809. Members received the amendment yesterday, and I have it in paper.
To a motion to
Yeah,
amend.
motion to amend. I can, so basically this amendment, it's technical in nature for the collective bargaining that happens between the mayor and our unions in regards to this bill. And the other amendment is striking some language and leaving that up to working with HR to implement the policy.
Thank you. We have a motion. We have a second. And any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The bill is amended. Thank you. So now, Madam Clerk, we have the bills are now ready for final action. We have,
I have a,
I'm sorry.
One more, I want to be added. I did not do that on Wednesday. I want to be added as a co-sponsor for Bill 1809, please.
thank you.
Thank you.
I have a
Okay.
comment on the bill as well.
Councilman Wilson.
Thank you, Madam President. So I just want to thank all members, specifically the co-sponsors of the bill, Councilwoman Strasburger and Councilman Reverend Ricky Burgess, for their support. And it's been a great discussion at council last week in regards to this bill, which I believe will shed some light on what's largely known as an invisible loss to individuals that experience loss of pregnancy. And I just want to also thank the individuals that showed up for public comment and provided public comment through email. It's important that that their voices are heard, especially in this discussion. I'll state once again that when I began looking at the benefits that we provide to our employees, I felt that this was an area where we fell short, and I hope that Pittsburgh can be a model for other cities and other governmental authorities, larger businesses that can provide this type of leave across the nation, so that we can begin to support families, working families in this way. I just also want to, I don't want to leave this call without thanking Dr. Grace Ferguson and also Heather Bradley from the bereavement doulas for their expert discussion and opinion last week. Once again, thanks everyone, and I'm very happy about today, and I hope that as we move forward, we can continue this discussion. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other members? I would just like to thank you, Councilman Wilson, for working with all of your colleagues to make sure you got to a place where people felt more comfortable, and for working with the unions as well. So thank you very much for your work on this. You've heard that the bills are now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bills will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor.
Aye.
Ms. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mrs. Cal Smith, President.
Aye.
Ayes 9, no 0.
Thank you. The bills have received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. And that moves us on to Councilman Bobby Wilson, Committee on Land Use and Economic Development. Thank you, Councilman.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Wilson presents Bill number 1844, report of the Committee on Land Use and Economic Development for September 8, 2021, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 1808, ordinance amending and supplementing the Pittsburgh Code Title IV, Public Places and Properties, Article 1, Public Right-of-Way by amending Chapter 420, Uniform Street Naming and Addressing, to update and clarify subchapters.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the title of the bill. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final passage or final action. All in favor of the passage will vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor.
Aye.
Ms. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mrs. Cal Smith, President.
Aye.
Ayes 9, no 0.
Thank you. The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. And that moves us on to our last committee of the day, which is Councilwoman Deb Gross, Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs.
Madam President?
Thank you, Councilwoman. Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Cross.
Councilwoman Gross presents Bill number 1845, report of the Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs for September 8, 2021, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 1796, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure on behalf of the city to enter into a corporation agreement with the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy for maintenance of certain plantings and other plant-related infrastructure in the public right-of-ways throughout the city at no cost to the city.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the title of the bill. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage will vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor.
Aye.
Ms. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mrs. Cal Smith, President.
Aye.
Ayes 9, no 0.
Thank you. The bills having received the legally required number of votes is finally passed. And that moves us on to our motions and resolutions. I have a few meeting announcements this afternoon at 1:30 and 2 p.m. Council will hold a briefing relative to meeting the new Duquesne Light Company President and CEO Kevin Walker. Also this afternoon, with sessions at 3 and 3:45, Council will hold another briefing relative to what is happening with the refugee resettlements and the needs that may arise regarding the resettlements already underway. Also, Council will hold our standing committees meeting tomorrow, Wednesday, September 15th at 10 a.m. Speaker registration for this meeting closes at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Please register using the sign-up form on the council meeting webpage. You may also call the city clerk's office at 412-255-2138. Also, tomorrow afternoon, with sessions at 1:30 and 2 p.m., council will hold a briefing relative to the Stormwater Code Ordinance update per Bill 2021-1720. We will need more nominations for the City Council District Reapportionment Commission. The reapportionment of the city council districts require 9 members to serve, one appointed by each council district representative. If you have not done so, please submit your nominations to the clerk as soon as possible, city clerk as soon as possible. Also, we will need 5 names from members of the Citizens Police Review Board. There are 4 seats that have impending term expirations, 2 of which are now vacant. The seats are as follows. Council seat number 1, the seat is vacant and needs a successor to complete the term ending 10/31/21. We need 3 nominees. Council seat number 2, law enforcement professional only. Term expires 10/31/21. Reappointment requested by council to term 11/1/21 to 10/31/25. Council seat number 4, term expires 10/31/21. Reappointment requested by council to term 11/1/21 to 10/31/25. And mayoral seat number 5, seat vacant due to resignation, needs a successor to complete. Term ending 10/31/21. We need 3 nominees for that. City council is required to provide a total of 6 nominees. 3 city council subcommittees have been created containing 3 members of each council. Please work together to submit the 2 names per subcommittee. If you have not done so by now, please submit the names to the city clerk as soon as possible so that the names can be introduced by way of resolution. We're holding up people working and moving on. So I really hope that members will come together and submit your nominations. Submit your nominations if you haven't done so for our reapportionment. And are we done with the school district, Madam Clerk? And we are completed with the school districts for council. So thank you for your work on that. With that said, is there anything from members? Councilman Kraus.
Thanks, Madam President. I just wanted to make a couple comments about some of the things that were said at public comment this morning.
Yes.
I wanted to correct any misnomer that might have gone out there that somehow elected officials could not be brought before OMI if there were just cause to do so. Each of the 11 electeds are certainly subject to OMI investigation if there were a situation that warranted that. And I just didn't want that going out there and having people believe that somehow your elected officials in Pittsburgh are above the law. That's just not true. And then I want to talk about scooters. Oh man, they are. Look, I know I'm getting older and I'm getting cranky and crotchety, but I cannot tell you the number of complaints that I have received across the board about scooters. I understand it's a new world, and I understand that there are provisions for alternative means of transportation that a lot of people like to use. And philosophically, I'm not opposed to the scooter. I think it's a nice addition to options for mobility. However, there needs to be every time for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, and for every provision such as this that we provide, we create a system of enforcement, right? And what I'm hearing out there is the lack of a consistent system of management and enforcement, and that it's a free-for-all out there. And that's pretty much what I'm experiencing, where there are no stationary checkpoints to pick up a scooter, to leave a scooter, to ensure that they are not being ridden on sidewalks and that they are not being ridden on streets that exceed 25 miles an hour for a speed limit, and that you're not carrying a child in your arms while you're on a scooter and driving down the street, and that there's better provision for where they're left. The number one word I get associated with scooters is litter. They're littered everywhere. So I had to get that out there because I share the frustration that we're hearing from citizens about it. So philosophically, I'm not opposed to the idea. I think it's a great provision, but there simply needs to be better control. And I'm not arguing that it should be local government doing this, but the provider of the scooter needs to be much more diligent in the distribution and collection and enforcement of the rules to have the scooters. Then I just want to talk a little bit about the Giant Eagle parking lot on the south side. The misnomer of that is that it is the Giant Eagle parking lot, and it is not. It is actually Giant Eagle rents the building that their Giant Eagle is in on the south side. They do not own that property, and the parking lot associated with it is actually managed by Penn Commercial, and it is a private lot. And through the years, we have received numerous complaints about the lot being used for purposes other than parking to support businesses at Wharton Square, primarily Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. You get 300 or 400 people parking in there to participate in food and beverage businesses on Carson Street. And what do you get? You have maybe 300, 400, 500 people wandering through residential streets to go back to that parking lot at 2:33, 3:30 in the morning, largely drunk and rowdy, creating havoc for residents as they go back to collect their cars from that parking lot. We can't have that. So Giant Eagle, Penn Commercial were wonderful about working collectively with us to make certain that that lot was used for what it's supposed to be used for, which is participation in that business. If you're not participating in the businesses at Wharton Square, you're in trespass. When the businesses are closed, the lot is private and the lot needs to be closed, and it is closed. And so security has been provided, and we've seen a marked improvement in late night miscreant behavior that is taking place and disrupting residents by having people go back to that parking lot. So that's really been a really positive success. And then in terms of the one-way traffic on East Carson, I know it's been difficult for residents. We're working collectively with Director Hisrich, Chief Schubert, everyone that we can think of to make it to be as non-invasive as possible. I don't know how much longer it's really going to last. Things are calming down, thank God. Fall's coming, students are returning, weather's changing, things are becoming calmer. So I just ask residents for continued patience at a difficult time and thank them for their patience, and that I suspect that should be ending sometime soon. I don't want to speak for public safety, but this is not permanent. I want to make that clear. So thank you for allowing me the time.
Councilman. Thank you. And I'm going to add a little bit about the scooters.
Scooters,
but
have at it.
I've had several conversations with the administration, so I'm feeling a little bit better for the future, not currently, but for the future. But with that said, I'll get to that at the end. Councilman Colco, I know you had something you wanted to add.
Yes, thank you. And since Councilman Kraus opened up the scooter talk, I had my own little input. I'm not opposed to them. Mostly what I see, 99% of what I see is parents bringing their kids, and they're being used for joy rides is what they are. The intent and purpose, I thought, was to, help transportation modes, getting back and forth to work. The only time I saw somebody that actually looked like they were going to work was on Route 51 on the street. And, if anybody that knows that road, it's a death wish really doing that. So, but I will grant he was on his way to work, I believe. So it was nice to see somebody use it for work. But I just wanted to add a quick little story. My own scooter story. 2:30 in the morning, going to Councilwoman Cale Smith's district, Madam President's district, Fetzer Street, where where Lisa lives, right behind the Carnegie Library, right next to Grandview. Come home and there's 3 scooters in a parking spot, and or 6 scooters in a park, taking up 2 parking spots. And as we approached, there were 6 people getting into cars that were parked on this little street. There's 8 or 10 homes there, maybe 15 parking spots. So I stopped the kids and I said, whoa, I said, what's going on here? I said, are you all dropping these scooters off? Are you taking them? And they were kind of loud and, they were excited. They were just kids. They were in their young 20s. And I don't blame them. They came from Murraysville to take a joyride. So they come from Murraysville with their 3 vehicles, park on Fetzer Street, which I know you're familiar with, Madam President, taking up 3 spots. So we got the scooters taking up 2 spots. We've got the joyriders taking up 3 spots with their automobiles to come ride the scooters. So I'm not opposed to them. I think they should be put in designated spots. I think we need to get them off of the streets. Our parking is too important and too valuable. It certainly was for me that night. And they're for parks and trails and, bike paths.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other members? Reverend Burgess.
I sort of waited for this moment to have this conversation. First of all, I want to show my appreciation to President Smith and to Finance Chair Lavelle in their shepherding of these recovery funds, both their participation in the Recovery Task Force and their overall leadership in the recovery of fund distribution. I am honored to be a small part of their leadership. I believe that though the way this was handled, which was in many respects simply a mirror of how we have been operating in terms of passing our city budget over the last, maybe 6 years or so, at least 4 years. This is an unusually wise council. I am now, along with Councilman Kraus, we are the old men at the table, but this council is unique in that at this table is over 70 years of council expertise and experience stretching over multiple mayors. In the Bible talks about time in 2 different ways. In the Bible, there is chronos, which is chronological time, which means the time 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock. There's also kairos, which means the right time or the appropriate time. And I believe this use of the way this process of funds was handled, we are in many ways, this council is now setting a new precedent. We are at a kairos moment of history, a right time. It is time, and I think we have agreed that this is the time for this council to begin co-governance. That is our role. It is our charter role to co-govern with the mayor and the controller. I will say, though, that this co-governance of this council will be a little different. We will utilize our charter-given responsibility to oversee for the people. We are the people's representative. We have been elected to represent them. We are the city's council. So therefore, we won't make decisions based on a popularity poll or by the fervent commitment of special interest groups. That will not, you're welcome to share your ideas and we will listen. We will listen, but at the end of the day, with our unique set of experience and expertise, we are capable of making the right decision at the right time. And so we will, the majority of members of this council, I think, are united under the leadership of Councilwoman Smith, and we are committed to pursue an active role in this co-governance model of leading the city. And I think you will see from this council, both in leadership and in legislation and overseeing our budget, creating and overseeing the budget. You'll see, I think, historic leadership, historic opportunity, the right moment at the right time to rudder, to steer this ship we call a city in the right direction. And I am grateful that God has allowed me, spared me to be on council long enough to be part of this council at this historic time. And I just wanted to sort of reflect on it, that now we are, I think, moving in a way that will be transformational for our city.
Thank you so much, Reverend Burgess. Do we have any other members? Seeing none, I'm just going to end it with saying, I want to thank all of you because everybody knows this is not my forte. So I just want to thank you all because I think without all of your leadership, Reverend Burgess, without Councilman Lavelle's leadership, a lot of this would not happen. We work as a team, but we don't work as a team of the three of us. It's the team of 9 of us. And so whether we're talking about accountability and we see things differently, and there might be some different, it all brings us to come up with the best solutions. We brought forward amendments today because we heard from the public. So I want to thank Councilman Lavelle for making sure he worked with the administration to get those pieces in. And I think that there's some more that we need to add in. And I know that we are going to talk about what we can do with the nonprofits in the budget coming up. But I think in that process, we have to make sure that we have a lot of accountability. We heard from a lot of residents who said that we allocate funding to people, that it never trickles down to the majority of the public, that it helps sustain the organizations, but not the individual people that need the services. So with that said, we're going to make sure that we keep an extra eye on that in different ways. So I think that this council and the administration and the budget office, our budget office, all worked really hard to try to come up with the best possible solutions. Of course, there's always going to be more need for the funding. There's going to be misinformation spread, sometimes from ourselves and sometimes from the various budget offices. People see things differently. They see numbers differently. In the end, we all did what we think is best for the city of Pittsburgh as a whole. And I just want to thank everybody for working together. With that said, can I have a motion to excuse any absent members, approve the minutes and adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.